Hello people! Today we're going to be talking about student loans. Now this might be a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation because we're told not to talk about money, but today I'm going to show you everything that has to do with student loans, how to avoid them, what you do when you have them. So I think a lot of people have student loans, especially in the United States. So I'm going to talk about my experience with student loans, kind of where we're at in the process. I have been out of college for about 2 years now, and I have 2 student loans. So let's look at the school that I went to here. So this school right here is the University of Portland. This is a private school. So in the United States, we have public schools and we have private schools. Public schools, if you're in state, are typically cheaper. Even out of state, they typically run a little bit cheaper than private schools. Private schools, whether you're in state or out state, same tuition. So how I got to this education part is I was looking for scholarships, right? So out of high school, you apply to a bunch of schools. You use like an app on the internet to apply to a bunch of schools, and typically you'll be given some kind of package. Okay, so and here it turned out to be the cheapest school to go to because of the amount of scholarships that I got for this school. So I really enjoyed my private education. The classes at the University of Portland were like, I'd say 20 to 30 students a class, so like your professors knew you and it was easy to get into office hours and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed my experience. Now I came out of this education with, I think it was about $48,000 in student loans, and I will show you my student loan situation. So, you know, I'm not bullshitting anyone. So to go to this school, the cost of attendance here, so here's kind of some pictures. They were doing like a little, oh yeah, here we go. So here's a nice little span of the school. Now I got a degree in mechanical engineering, so I went into the mindset of I need a skill that I couldn't get online necessarily. So I chose University of Portland, as you can see, and I pulled up the average cost of attendance here, and as you can see, maybe we'll zoom into that number right there, but that is $67,000, 676 per year. I'm pretty sure that's, yeah, an academic year. Okay, so I came out with about 40,000, 45,000, and that's less than it was for 1 year. So I did pretty good on getting scholarships and that such. So let me show you my loan situation. So let's go over, stay logged in. I don't care if you guys see some of my exclusive information, except for I am going to get rid of my phone number because I don't want anyone texting me. So here we go, account summary. We have $41,000 and $41,058.95. Cool. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So this is what I call, one of my loans is private, so I can't log into it. It's on my other computer, whatever. It's like $7,000. That one's through the University of Portland. This one, though, is through a loan servicer called Great Lakes. So typically, when you go to get student loans, you're going to go through financial aid. And you'll talk to them and they'll set you up all the loans or whatever. You won't actually register on here until after college. So you won't see any of this, well, at least I didn't, until I did my, what they call exit interviews when you graduate, to make sure that you're going to pay them back the loans. So as you can see here, it says monthly payments of $439. Now, just to give you a little reference here, my car payment is like $380 a month. This is like owning a car. Yeah, basically. Basically, I own a second car. So, except for I get nothing for it. Oh, I guess I got an education. So there's that. But monthly payments of $439, right, will be due starting 7 months from now. So that is because COVID has impacted my student loans. I didn't refinance my student loans. A lot of people will kind of get confused. What is refinancing technically? So I'm just going to pull up my iPad and kind of walk you through what it means to refinance. So you may be wondering, what does it technically mean to refinance a loan? Now, there's some important steps here. So you have your loan through let's say the Department of Education, which is basically just a fancy way of saying you have your loan through the government, right? Let's say it's $40,000 in my case. So $40,000 loan through the Department of Education. Now that loan is built up of several different smaller loans, which they will show you the breakout. So let's say you have a $10,000 loan at 3%. Let's say you have a $20,000 loan at 5%. And let's say you have a $10,000 loan at 4%. So you have a combination. I'm just doing 3 for simplicity here, but you have a bunch of different loans. They have all different percentage or interest rates. And what that means is you're going to have to pay your principal. So let's say this is your principal. This is without interest. And then as you accrue interest, you'll have to pay that off as well. So you're paying for the fact that you're borrowing as well. Now, what refinancing means is somebody comes along and they go, hello, I'd like to pay off your loan. So what they'll do is they will pay off your loan of $40,000. They'll pay it off full, write you a check, you pay it off, or they'll do it themselves. And then they make a deal with you, and here's you, and you will then settle a deal with them for $40,000. So you'll borrow $40,000 from them at, let's say, 3.1%, or something negotiated. So this will be negotiated based on your income, based on dealing with that person, how much money or how much loan you have. So sometimes you have to have at least $25,000 in loans for them to make it worthwhile to refinance. But anyway, the point is that this number will be significantly less than your other percentages. So 5%, 4%, 3%. And then therefore you will be paying less interest. So this would be through a private. So this would be a private loan. Now, there's all kinds of different people who will give you private loans to refinance. They usually will come in the mail. So I get all kinds of mails asking to refinance. The reason that you would want to do that is because you get a lower interest rate, right? The only downfall to this is it is a private loan, so the government cannot pause your interest rates. They can, like if you get in a medical emergency, they can't pause any of your rates. You're signed up for a private loan. So for instance, when COVID happened here, they paused my loans because I still had mine through the Department of Education, so I haven't been paying interest for several months. Now, if I were to go with a private loan or I refinanced it earlier, I would still be paying off those loans. So there are some benefits to staying with the government as far as your loans go, but once COVID is over, I will most likely refinance my loans. And that's exactly how it is with houses as well. Basically, refinancing just means you're getting a lower interest rate. Sometimes you can get cash back when you refinance your house as well. So there's all kinds of benefits that they can do. But that's basically what refinancing your student loans will look like. Now, as you can see, I'm about at $41,000 worth of loans. So as I showed you when with the iPad here, is if you go into here and let's just pretend to make a payment, okay? We're gonna make a payment, let's say it's $5. I'm gonna pay $5 of my frick thing. I'd like to access my stuff. So we go down. Here are all my loans. So here you have subsidized, unsubsidized. Here's the fixed interest rate, right? So I've paid zero, I don't have any interest because my loans started like right when COVID hit, like right around that time. So typically when you graduate in May on typical academic year, you'll end up paying your loans like after that senior year, you'll pay your loans the following November, December-ish. Depending if it's a private loan. I started mine in March the next year, so it kind of depends. You'll have to talk to your loan servicer. But you could see the rates here: 4.2, 6 point, or 3.6, 5.5% basically. So if I were to go pay off these loans, I would want to pay off the 5%ers first, right? Because that has the most accruing interest. So there is a strategy here. Now I will most likely refinance the whole set of loans to get like a 3% off it all, but I have not done that yet. And the reason I didn't do that is because of COVID. So I knew COVID was going to do something to my student loans, so I wanted to keep all my student loans with Great Lakes, because if I go and do it with a private loan servicer, then I'm going to I will never get any benefits if the government does stuff like this, where they pause student loans, which has been helpful because it's like $400 a month that I've been able to pay off my car while not paying student loans off. So there's some benefits there. Now, like I said, you'll have to do an exit interview to like set up the amount or how fast you want to do it. So I did like a medium. So you could do it like slow, where you're paying off for like 20 years, or you could do it within 10, or you could do 5. But again, COVID impacted it, so I've had a little bit of a break, which is nice. And then, so I didn't live on campus, so I did end up getting my college a little bit cheaper because I didn't have to pay for like food and all that. So I went to a college that was close to home, so there was food, room and board. I didn't have to pay for all that. I had to get an exception, and you can do that with most schools if you have some kind of circumstance, right? So let's look at this. So here's all the loans. So this is how I would put this in like an Excel spreadsheet. I haven't done this just because obviously it's paused for 7 months. So like, why would I worry about it? But I should start paying this off while I can only pay principal. So the difference is principal is like how much you actually borrowed, and then interest is like, it's just money they charge you for borrowing that money. So you want to pay off as much principal as possible, right? So I should be paying into it, but I'm not, because I'm investing my stuff in other things, which is probably not the best strategy, but it's what I'm doing. So that is basically what your student loans will look like once you finish college. Now, at an evaluation point of view, do I feel like I made a good investment, right? One, I ended up getting a mechanical engineering degree, which is a very like skill-oriented degree, something you can't really get off the internet. I mean, you could maybe take some Udemy classes here and there, but it's such a specialized degree that I don't think I could learn that on my own without going, like I went to office hours like every single day. So there's that. Two, I ended up getting my loans to like 40,000 rather than like 60,000 a year. So I have like, a lot of people have like hundreds to $200,000 worth of loans. So I do feel like I did pretty well in that. I also took school very seriously. So there's that aspect. I got a really good GPA and then graduated with honors. And they gave me $200 for being the valedictorian of mechanical engineering. So you got to factor that $200 in. But as far as the student loans goes, how I'm planning on going about it is there are some different views. I think it was in I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Well, there's also Generation Earn. So this book is really good. And I Will Teach You to Be Rich, which I believe is in the bottom here. They talk about different ways you can attack these. Now, they say the snowball effect works pretty well, and that is where you pay off the smallest ones first. So I pay off the 222. Like in the next paycheck, I could just go, bam, done, right? $200, $900. You want to pay off and get like a snowball effect, and then you're down to like your 4 main loans or something. So that's an option. The other strategy is to get rid of the loans that have the highest interest rate, which would be these 2 bad boys right here. But then that's like $6,000, or yeah, that's like buying a car. Yeah, like a decent car. Like that was how much my first car cost. It was around $4,000. So you could buy a car with that. So I think the snowballing effect will probably be what I'm gonna go for, because it'll make me feel more motivated once I knock a couple of those out. But you can get those tips in books here. So I Will Teach You to Be Rich and Generation Earn are really good at that. So now, how I got the loans down to where they are, and you might think, oh, 40,000, that's still a lot. It is, but I literally applied to every scholarship I could find on the internet. I would pretend to be any person that you wanted me to be if you were going to pay for my education. I ended up getting a scholarship through like a water like cleaning company. So I was like, I'm very interested, super passionate about cleaning up water, you know, and I wrote this whole essay. They gave me $4,000. I literally cried. Like, I was in the library and I cried over $4,000 because at that point I was so broke that I was like, I was just in shock that I was like, I just cried in the library. Shiley School of Engineering, in the volume room, I cried. So, but, and then like other ones, you can go, you just apply to everything. You write essays. I think one, you had to like pretend you were a farmer, or you had to pretend you were a truck. You were like a farming truck. There were some really strange ones out there, but honestly, Google is your best friend. I would say talk to your scholarship people. I got a scholarship through Alpha Lambda Delta, which was like an honor society. So I was in a ton of honor societies, and then there's scholarships within those honor societies. So I went in and I talked to the scholarship representative at the school. Now, if you're doing really good academically, you can get scholarships while you're in college. I would say spend the summer as a high schooler or a senior applying to all these, but you can also apply while you're in school as well. So that was also an option, and that's how I got some more extra money, and they just go straight into your bank account. Some of them, I just got like 10 grand just into my bank account, and then I used that to like pay for my next year's tuition, and then therefore I didn't have to take out that many student loans. But I say go on Google, try to find them on Google, but I would say the easiest route is to join clubs in college or societies, and then ask professors and ask teachers and ask if there's a scholarship center. Typically, colleges will have a scholarship center because they want the college to look good, right? So they want to put you up for scholarships. And if you have a high GPA, you are a great candidate for scholarships. And that is exactly what I did. And then along with applying to random ones on the internet, which you will be shocked at that scholarship that I got for $4,000 for being really into water cleaning. I spent probably 30 minutes on that. Like not a lot of time, but it like changed. Like $4,000 doesn't seem like a lot at this point in my life, but when I was in college and I spent all summer working at Target to get my $4,000 because that was the bare minimum I had to pay, even with student loans, when I got that scholarship, it was like, that was an entire summer's worth of wages, and like just hand it to me. It was so nice. And a lot of companies, they have quotas they need to fill, how many scholarships they need to give out. So that is the best way, is to just talk to professors, talk to your scholarship people at your school. If you can't do that, go on the internet. I think there's apps now where you can just start applying, and it's all about mass volume. Like, you just apply to everything and you're bound to get at least a couple $100, you know? And that was how I got my way through college with the amount of loans, because, and that along with financial aid if you're eligible. But that is basically how to game the system. Not really gaming because it still works, but just think about it. Like 30 minutes of your time or a couple hours a week of your time is so worth it. Like you can't get $4,000 for 30 minutes. That's not a thing in life, but it is for school. So I say just go after it, and you will never regret it because you'll just pay less and less. I wish I would have done more, honestly. But yeah, this is kind of the general idea of student loans. It's obviously a hot and kind of awkward topic to talk about, especially with all the economic things happening in the world and everyone fighting to get student loans like crossed out. And that's also the reason why I want to keep my money on the federal side of things, because I just don't know if they're going to, waive some student loans or whatever they may do. So I might not refinance for a while until we figure all that out. But I hope this is helpful and you can kind of see what path I took. If I were to do it again, I would do two, well, it's kind of hard because engineering, you kind of need your first 2 years. But if you're going for, if you want to make it cheaper, I would suggest going to a community college to take your like history credits, your English credits. I did that here in order to get a math minor. I took my history class at a community college so that I could use my credit for a much harder math class that I couldn't be able to take at a community college. So there's some kind of like ways you can go about that. So I did that over the summer. But if I were to do it again, I would take all my English, history, all your like general electives at a community college or AP, and then go into college and then focus on the classes you want to take and maybe graduate a little early. But that would just be my only change. Other than that, I feel like I got a phenomenal education and I tried my best to make it cost effective. And now it's just a matter of paying back student loans. And, you know, considering some of the people I know have like hundreds of thousands of student loans, I think I did pretty good. Especially since some people get, you know, financial help from relatives and such, but I did this through Target and other means of paying, selling my soul. But anyway, hope this helps, and airing out my dirty laundry here for you all to see. I don't really care. I mean, I've got a great education and this was the cost. So hope this helps. Comment below if you have any suggestions or ways that you're going to pay off student loans, and I will see you guys next time.